plan. They see that, you know, I have things going on, and then I'm not going to rely on them for anything. So opposed to like some of these beta men who are always crying about this, mommy, you know, they have the mommy syndrome. Oh, I need my mommy. I'm not like that. I, you know, my life story. I raised my younger sister, so you know, so that says a lot in the sense of the type of person I am because
Yeah.
I've raised someone. I know what it is and what it takes to be a head of a household and take care of things. You know, so
It's almost like there's this big population of men
mhm.
who never really stepped into manhood and are still like little boys.
Well,
And they refuse that responsibility. They don't step into that responsibility. If anything, they want less responsibility.
exactly. I mean, they're afraid of the responsibility. You know, here's the one thing I've always said, and I really believe this. You do not become a man until the day you have to take some care of someone else besides yourself.
Uh,
So when
I
that
love
happens, and I'm not talking about just maybe a child, but also just being a man to a woman, making sure you take care. I'm not just talking about the financial aspects either, but the emotional. All right, being there for them, all those type of things. Because a lot of men, especially the beta men, can be very selfish in that sense. It's all about me, because
yeah.
that's a society that's been built for them as of late.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of them, but there is good men out there, even in the younger generation, because I've met them
So
before,
many. You
and
know, it's
I
interesting.
had,
I saw a thing
yeah,
where they're saying that men under 25 are incredibly conservative in their values and they're opting out of that promiscuity, and women who are like into that hookup culture, like they're just opting out. They're like, these women have, you know, Jezebel spirit. They're totally degenerates. Like
right,
they want to go hook up with different guys every weekend. Like we're not about that. And
right.
they're really standing their ground on that.
They
And
don't
then
want,
they're,
yeah,
yeah,
they don't want that. I mean, why, as a man, especially an alpha man, why would I want to be with that girl who's always constantly looking for the next best thing when she can't focus on what's in front of her?
right.
Same thing as a man, you want the best for me, you have to show me your best as well. It's a two-way street, right? Both people have to be there and be present, and you know, show that, hey, I'm here, I'm into this, let's do this together, let's grow together, things like that. Let's become a partnership in that sense, because people don't realize in a relationship you have to build a partnership. You know,
For
everyone
sure.
has their roles in the relationship. Men have their roles and women have their roles, and
So,
that's
like, in
enough.
your opinion, and I think a lot of women need clarity on this, as a man,
Mhm.
what would you say are those qualities that men truly want and struggle to find in women today?
Well, I mean, I can tell you for some of my experience, but every man's going to be a little bit different, so I can't speak for all men. But for me, I look for certain qualities in a woman, as far as, you know, obviously you want good emotional intelligence. That's one. You know, a woman who takes care of herself physically. I think that's so important. That says a lot about a woman when they're taking care of themselves, you know. And it's not being vain or anything like that. It's just a matter of like, hey, I want to make sure I'm presentable. I look good for
Right.
not just myself, but for the
It's
people I'm
it's
with.
like, okay, less spending money on like fake lashes and more money on like Pilates.
Right. The body, listen, healthy body creates a healthy mind, and that's
Yeah.
vice versa. You know, it's it's so crucial and so important. And this is why, like, you know, you see me, I know you see my history.
Yeah, you're same age as me, right? 53?
Yeah. So we're in the
Yeah.
50s. Yeah, we're in the 50s.
Yeah. So
I
like, you know, Gen X is killing it.
yeah,
We're
listen,
aging great.
you gotta age gracefully, you know, and
Yeah.
what you did, you know, what you were doing 10 years ago affects you now. And if you just catching up, there's still hope for you. Like, you know, I coach a few people with this kind of stuff, with the physical fitness and things like that, what to eat and all that stuff. That's why,
Mhm.
as of late too, also you probably been seeing some of my reels and posts, whatever, about the foods that we're eating that are destroying your hormones and all that kind of stuff. You know, people don't know. This is why we have a huge obesity and diabetic and heart disease problem here in the United States versus other.
Oh,
You know?
we're going to get juicy on this because
Yeah.
there's this movement. I don't know if you've seen it on social media. It is crazy. It's very dark
Mm-hmm.
because of the agenda behind it, and
Mm-hmm.
that people are being duped because it makes them feel good. So there are all these obese people who
Mm-hmm.
are influencers, and they're not necessarily posting videos of themselves like working out, eating great. Like those people, I see them and I'm like, thumbs up, go get it. Like I'm learning tips from them, right? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, giving them all the love, the props, because that takes discipline and commitment. And I love
Right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also these other influencers, mainly women. They're dressed provocatively,
Right.
purposely to elicit some sort of response and reaction, and people give it, but then they turn around and come at you because they don't want to hear that truth. They don't want to hear, put clothes on, cover that up. Nobody
Right.
wants to see that, but they're putting themselves out publicly. So my thinking is, if you put yourself out publicly on social media, you are open to all comments.
Of
You
course.
put yourself out there for all comments. It's free speech,
Mm-hmm.
right? That means, hey, I might not agree with this. I'm going to say my opinion. And you, as a creator, you have the choice. You could block comments. You can limit who comments. You could do all of those things. But if you don't do that, then you could expect people are going to give their opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's this movement, and there are fitness trainers who specifically deal with that market, meaning obese people who say they want to lose weight, but not really. And they just want validation for their poor choices. And then this fitness trainer is like trying to be this messiah protector of all obese people. Meanwhile, he did two videos. One saying that it's okay to drink soda as he samples like this new flavor of Coca-Cola.
Really?
And then another video.
Trainer?
I'm sorry?
This is a fitness trainer?
Yeah. Fitness trainer for obese people, apparently, and he has like 400 and something thousand followers.
He
He's
can't.
almost a
He can't
500,000
possibly
followers.
be a fitness trainer with a license and also a nutritional license, because anyone that's doing that will never ever praise those
Right.
type of
And
behaviors.
and he has this this other video where he says about M&Ms that it's okay to indulge from time to time. M&Ms, everyone knows, are one of the most
It's just
unhealthy,
it's filled with chemicals.
filled with chemicals.
Yeah.
Totally filled with chemicals. So when somebody comes at me and then I investigate them and I see things that put them out of credibility, all of their opinion goes down the tube of me. Granted, I don't really give a shit about what people think of me anyway to begin with, but if you're
Right.
going to come at me and send thousands of people my way
Mm-hmm.
to reprimand me, harass me, sorry, I'm going to research
Right.
what you're about. And if there's anything that questions your credibility, I'm going to blast you on that. And I
Right.
did. And then just like magic, all of it went
Well,
away.
there's a lot of those. There's a lot of those bots designed for that now too. So half of these things that might be making
Right.
are bots. They're not even real. You
Right.
know,
I think there's
they,
also
they are real people that
this
you should take account.
delusional, this supporting a delusion
Mm-hmm.
of the whole you go girl body positivity bullshit. Because it's bullshit. Like
Well,
body positivity means I accept myself where I'm at as I endeavor to go over there. I
mm-hmm.
have a health goal over there. I have a vision of my life and my health and how I look and how I feel over there. I'm
Right.
over here. I'm positive about myself where I am as I proceed to do better, to be better, to be stronger, whatever your thing is, to eat better, to eat more cleanly, whatever your thing is, right? To me, that's body positivity. Body positivity is reading labels because
Mm-hmm.
you care about what I call the vessel or the temple for your soul.
Mm-hmm.
These people that are promoting obesity, I think it's a really dark, satanic initiative. It's keeping people thinking, believing a delusion that they are okay as they are, that they should celebrate their curves. Bullshit. I'm curvy. Those people are obese. Stop
Hmm.
calling obese people curvy. It's
Right.
insulting.
Hmm.
I say this all the time. And oh, you're fat shaming. You're the, you know what? Back in the day, shame was a pretty powerful motivator. Don't you remember when you were a kid and,
Well,
and
they
somebody
say
and somebody said some shit
yeah,
to you and you were like, yeah, you know what? You know, wasn't good to be shamed. You're like, you know what? I kind of strained my ass out pretty
but
quick after
but
being shamed.
they call that bullying right now. But I say bring that back because it kept people in check. It kept people
Hundred
more honest.
percent.
It
Hundred
made
percent.
people honest and come to realization. Yeah, I need to lose the weight, or I need to stop my BS and change what I'm doing here because it's not going to be positive for me in the future by being fat or whatever the situation is. Because I'm only going to develop some kind of diabetes, some kind of heart disease, you know, and even cancer. Overweight people are also um, can develop cancerous cells because of the weight they have. Diabetes, is all about the sugar content and all that stuff in your body, right? So
For sure. And
that
other things too down the
sugar,
line, like dementia and all this. Like my mom has been diagnosed with dementia. She's like five, probably more, but noticeably 5 years in,
mhm,
right? And you see the decline from year to year. And what does it have to do with when I researched it? Because, for me, I'm like, well, that's my mom. Like, I got to understand what goes on. My dad's
mhm,
diabetic. My mother has dementia. Like, I need to figure it out. For me, right now that I'm 53, I'm like, what can I do in the next 10, 15 years to reverse or to, not go down that same path? And a lot of it that I researched, it's all processed foods, and especially the foods over the last 30 years.
well,
So
yeah,
something in the mid 90s changed with how they did wheat, how they did sugars in
well,
food, put high glucose corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, and everything. And now we're finally starting to talk about this more, and people
mhm.
are getting educated on it. So it's going to be like a major food revolution, I think, coming.
Well, it has to because you hit the nail on the head. Going back about 30 years ago, maybe even 40 years ago, what the food industry did was they wanted to extend their 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 shelf life with all their food. So in order to do that, they got to prove to the FDA, who's corrupt as well, especially now, uh,
Totally.
that
Always.
that their food can uh, stand time. Stay on the shelf for a period of time, so they can get that expiration date pushed out. So what they did was they added all these chemicals and all these dyes. The dyes were more for aesthetics, and these other chemicals were to make the food last longer. So basically, the only way I can really say it is it's like putting hairspray on, right? You keep it in place. They put the chemicals on top of the food to keep it in place to try to preserve it, and that's exactly what they did. They used the bad chemicals that were left over from other stuff that they were using for industrial stuff. That's where most of this.
Yeah, like pesticides
Yeah.
even and stuff
Mhm.
for like paint.
Mhm.
It's terrible when you really dig into, there's that book, Good Energy, and
Mhm.
it's so great to see like Casey and Callie Means like getting all this like mainstream attention now. That book is amazing, and like watching them do their thing, I've learned so much from them.
Mhm.
And I'll put their info in the show notes, but the book is like highly recommended, a New York Times bestseller. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of men, especially like on the left, it seems like this whole like workout thing, they don't do it, right? Like, and they talk about like being in shape as like a form of toxic masculinity. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why would that be? Being in shape, being able to like defend yourself,
Yeah.
right? And the world the way it is, it's tyrannical.
Yeah.
And
It's fun.
there's that expression, right? Like good times lead to weak men,
Mhm.
bad times lead to strong men, right? It's like a circle. So we're in this period now where like everyone's weak, everyone's just gluttonous, fat, weak. And then there's this other segment of the population who's like, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna eat right, I'm going, and then they're deemed as um like toxic masculinity. And you don't really see that much with like females who are looking to get in shape. They kind of just are off doing their own thing, peaceful. But
Hmm.
there's a lot of shade thrown at men who like to work out.
Well, you gotta remember this, and this is something I explained to someone else. Strong men, they don't want, because you can't control strong men. That's a fact. All right. So the government, that's why they push these agendas to make men weak. All right.
Right.
You destroy a man and bring him from here to here, it's easier to control him when he's here. When the man's on top of his game, has high testosterone, all right, we need our testosterone. We need that masculinity, all right, in order to lead, all right, in order to do certain things. Without it, your everyday things in life you would not have, and women need to understand, okay? The roughest jobs in the world are done by men, or rig guys, highway guys, all that kind of stuff.
Linemen here in Florida, holy shit, with the storm that we just had, you see all the linemen in
Mhm.
their trucks like a parade hitting
Yeah,
these, beach communities and doing their thing to put power and restore power. And like, you're not seeing many women do that.
no.
And, there's this entitlement
Mhm.
and this shade thrown for like the masculine man. But like,
Because media has thrown that at them and said this is the way men should be. They should be more feminine. They should be in touch with their feelings. Men can do it all. We can listen. I have a big heart. It's like
totally,
it's like I told you. I raised my younger sister. I was tough with her at times, but then I also showed heart with her, compassion, showed her love. Hugged her, kissed her when she needed it. I did all that stuff. But at the same time, I was strong. I was the
for
head of the
sure.
household, and I
Well,
did what I.
there's, I guess, what really needs to be encouraged is this stoicism,
Mm-hmm.
right? This thing of a balanced man, where, like you said, when appropriate, there's a lot of compassion and a lot of nurturing qualities there. But on the other side, too, there's this ability to recognize an emotion and not suppress it, but
Mm-hmm.
be with it and transmute it. Like, I'm really pissed off, I'm angry. So instead of punching a hole through drywall, you go for a run and you sort out your thoughts, and then you come back and you sit down with your wife or your girlfriend and you're like, hey, listen, that argument before really pissed me off. I'm ready to talk about it now. Here's where I'm at with this, here's where I'm at with that. And you lay it out and you take the lead, and that woman will be like, you know what, I'm sorry I lost my temper, I'm sorry I got in your face, I'm sorry, right? It won't happen again. And that's how you help each other to grow and be better,
Of course, yeah.
right? And a lot of times in the work that I do with people as a love life coach, a lot of it is just this confusion as to what submissive means,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, if you look at it biblically, the most peaceful a woman can be is when she's yielding to the leadership of her man. That's when you can turn your brain off, be in your feminine energy, and be like, bro, I trust you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, oh, the reservation, they lost the reservation to our restaurant. Oh, that sucks. But I trust you that you're going to sort it out, or we're going to go someplace else and we'll together figure it out.
Yeah.
Not the end of the world,
I
right?
believe most women want that, whether they're conservative or liberal. At the end of the day, I
For
think
sure.
that
They
each.
do. And this is what's so interesting. And I'm sure you see this. Women, when asked what it is they want out of men, the liberal women, 9 times out of 10, describe the characteristics of a conservative man.
Always, always, always.
I'm like, or if they're a liberal feminist woman and they're very wounded, they will want a man to be submissive to them so that they can control that man.
And there are those women that are like that too. I've met those type of women. It's kind of funny. I've met those type of women before, had conversations with them. Basically tell them that would never happen with you and I. Because I would never be that way with you. You know,
Hmm.
that type of, that you're gonna just walk all over me like that. You know,
Right.
I'm gonna be the man.
Right. And the thing is, the more wounded a woman is, and I speak this from my own experience, the more wounded a woman is, certainly the more wounded I was, the less receiving I was
Mhm.
and trusting of a man's leadership. I felt like I had to do it all. It had to be my way. I had to have like this control over my chaotic environment in order to feel safe,
Mhm.
as opposed to leaning back and just being like, do you trust your ability to pick someone capable? Do you trust that this person is capable? And if you believe they are, hang back and see what they do. And then if they ask you for your opinion, give it. But on the flip side, to kind of be fair to women too, you have to know how to pick someone capable, because there are a lot of men out there who don't believe in themselves. And
Yeah.
so you're then dating the potential. You're
Mhm.
not dating what is, but you're dating the potential. And that's dangerous,
Yeah.
because then that's when women become fixers. They date guys that are like here and they want them really here. And they think their influence can help them be that. But then they start mothering them. It's not inspiring them, it's this mothering. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And that's a lot what I hear with women. So it's like coaching men on, how to be that masculine man, right? How to do the things that will get a feminine woman to be attracted to you. That's
Mhm.
something that I definitely coach upon. And those things are knowing where you're going in your life. What are you going for, right? What's the goal?
Yeah.
And sticking to those goals and not being distracted by bullshit and in the next, good feeling thing, a woman, and the goals fly off the hand, like fly off the cliff, right? It's about, with you or without you, I'm going over there, right?
Right.
I have this money goal, I have these travel goals, I have, and if you're the right woman, you can come with me on this journey, but I'm going.
Right.
And then she has her thing that she wants to do too. And then they figure it out and support each other through their, endeavors. The other thing I would say too, and I mean, you can, obviously, I want to hear from you. You're the guy. But I would say, like, taking pride in your physicality, the way you dress, your grooming,
Mhm.
your fitness, what you're consuming in your body as far as food, booze, all this. Um, I think that really makes a man attractive. A guy who cares about how he looks and what he's putting out in the world, in addition to the kindness, the compassion, a good guy, loyal, integrity. You say you're going to do shit, you do it, consistency. All of that is a given, but it
Mhm.
is both,
Right.
right? A lot of guys out there, they're like, beefy and all this, but they're assholes. Right? And then there are other guys that are super kind and amazing, but they don't really, they're kind of like
It's
lazy.
balance. It really is balance at the end of the day. You have to learn that as a man, or have some guidance growing up as a man. And sometimes some men don't have that guidance. Maybe it might be the home bringing. I don't know. When they're growing up, but
Yeah,
it's all about balance. You hit it there. Think about with men or women, doesn't really matter, man or woman. Two things that were going to get you successful in life, right? One is your overall appearance. People don't want to believe that, but that is true. When you walk into any place of business and that person right in the front is very attractive, well put together, the person walking in is going to feel more at ease. Like, oh wow, this is an attractive person. Is it true? It's actually something, a study that they've done. All right, that shows that, hey, yeah, wow, this is a nice looking person. It gives them a little bit more relief, and they want to be more nicer. Like, oh wow, this is a nice looking person. Now, with that, that same person has to show intelligence. All right,
right.
knows how to
Right.
greet, be very courteous, very kind, very well spoken. All that comes into play. It's a combination thing. It's all balance. It's not everyone has it, but it can be. You can learn it, and once you learn it, you can perfect it and be very good at it, and that will excel you in other things.
Yeah, there's also like this attitude of just nihilism, like just this I don't care, very nihilistic. I'm going to just be single with my pet and not have children and not really care about anything. And it's sad because a
That
society can't succeed on a nihilistic energy.
mhm. Yeah, I've heard people say those things before too. To me, that's just someone who's defeated, just accepted that there's no one good for them, or they're never going to find anyone, and this and that. You're already putting yourself out there with a negative projection of that. That's
Yeah.
what, yeah, right?
Well, I always tell people, like, the fact that you desire love means that your person exists.
Oh yeah.
Because the desire wouldn't be placed upon someone if the same force that can make it happen
Mm-hmm.
didn't have it there for you already. It did, it exists. This is where, like, I geek out to, like, quantum realm, and your thoughts and your inspiration is a testament to what already exists for you in a different timeline, and you get to align with that timeline to manifest what it is that's there for you, but it already exists.
Yeah.
So the people watching this, right, there are men out there who are like, yeah, it would be great to have a girlfriend, it would be great to have a wife, a partnership with a woman, whatever that looks like to you, but they don't want to better themselves or do the work necessary to align with the energy necessary to connect with that other person. So they're spinning over here, the woman is over here, and they keep missing each other because their energies aren't
Right.
compatible. So it takes a lot of inner work to get that energy frequency to a place of a higher frequency of, you're not going to attract somebody good from an energy frequency of nihilism, fear, hopelessness, right? These are all low level energies, which unfortunately our collective society through the media has been trying to force us down into these sadder, awful depression kind of energies.
And why? Because they want to control you.
Right. So that's how they're controlling us. But when you reject that and you stop watching mainstream media, you start watching independent conversations like this, you start watching other people, creators, whatever, that are really bringing higher level conversations, inspired conversations, encouraging people, go walking every day, even if it's just a little thing that you do for an hour, like go out in nature, get light, get direct sunlight. A lot of people are working in these cubicles with fake lighting for, like, I did it 10 hours a day working in these things. And you don't really see how over time that hurts your body. So when we're having conversations like this and we're talking about good health, empowering people to be better, that raises the frequency, right? So now you start to say, hey, I saw this podcast, this woman and this guy, and they were talking about all that. I'm going to walk every day for 20 minutes. Right. Okay, that's awesome. And then while you're doing that, some thought of inspiration will come to you. And then while you're doing that, you go grab, a juice at a juice bar, and boom, you meet your person.
Yeah.
Why? Because just the fact of going out, doing something different, being out in nature, lifting your energy level puts you in that realm of manifestation. Can't manifest good shit from low energy. You manifest amazing stuff from a high energy.
Yeah, you hit that. I mean, higher energy is important, and that comes with also, in order to getting the person that you want, with a higher energy, you also have to be at your best. So that means getting that higher energy, be your best at what you're doing, because that also, they say you attract what you are. So if you're up there, that's what you're going to attract too. If you're down here, you're going to attract that. More positive, you're going to get the best. Negative, you're going to get the worst. It's really
what do you think are like a few of the main mistakes, or better said, flip it to a positive? What are some opportunities that women can take advantage of to make shifts in their lives so that they are more peaceful and therefore appealing to that masculine man? Because every woman who comes to me, I feel like I'm in my masculine energy all the time and I want to get into my feminine energy so I can attract a masculine man. This is like the thing I get all the time. So it's one of the things I wanted to ask you, what can women do?
All right, so are we going to save that question for tomorrow?
I'm recording now, so we can see what we do. Yeah.
All right, so there's a few things with that. All right, women complain that they're always in their masculine, right? They want to get that guy that they're looking for, that's in their masculine, that's going to take care of them, right? And this goes back to what we were talking about before, right? Am I on the right track right now? Okay.
Yeah, they want to be taken care of. It's a big thing I hear. I want a man who's going to take care of me.
Right. So
Okay.
they want that, but they also have to also look at the men that they're going after, right? Look at to see where they are in their life. How did they get to where they are in their lives, right? So if you go out and meet, and it doesn't matter what profession they're in. You know, some professions make more money than another, stuff like that. But that doesn't mean they're not successful in what they do. All right. So you have to look at that man and what he's doing, what his life has been in a sense, and where he's going. Does that man have goals? Right. When you have a conversation with that man, okay, you're doing this in your life. What's your ultimate goal here? What are you looking to do? You know, ultimately, that man should have a plan. Every man should have a plan. If a man's answering you, well, I'm not too sure yet, I'm in between something, then he's probably not there yet and
Right.
probably not going to be there, because if he doesn't flat out tell you what his plan is, it's probably going to be like that when you start dating them, and you're not going to be happy,
Right.
right? You're not going to come out your feminine, your masculine side, because he's not in a place where he needs to be. Understand?
Mhm.
So a woman needs to understand where a man is at in that particular time in their life, and if they have a goal.
So there's the tip number one. So ladies need to get very clear about what they want themselves as a woman in their own life, the kind of lifestyle they want. They need to get very specific so that then when they're dating, they know what questions to ask and what to listen for to determine if that man is it or not. And
Correct.
if they're it, you proceed date number two, date number three. If they're not it, how can a woman gracefully, very femininely reject a man?
I think it's real simple. I mean, listen, no one likes rejection, right? But
Right.
but you have to also be real and say, listen, I appreciate you. You know, I see that you're in a part of your life that you're trying to figure it out. And I get it. I think we've all been there. But I think at this time, I think I may have to step back from this and let you figure it out what you're doing. Maybe it's just a timing. Maybe you and I are just not meant to be with each other at this moment in time. Doesn't mean we can't be together somewhere down the road. You never know what life brings you. But at this time, I think it's just good that we may pursue other avenues right now. And this is
And do you really think that if a woman said exactly those words to a guy, that he would be like, oh, okay, thanks? Or would he be like, fucking bitch, you just want money? That's all what it's about. It gets so
again,
like,
again, all about who that man is. If he's a smart, intelligent guy, and like I said, he could just be in a spot where he's just not ready to get to that next step in his life. He's trying to figure it out. And that's fine. But he also needs to understand that, hey, I'm not there, and I can't blame this person for that. And if he ends up being rude and nasty, then you made the right mistake as a woman, anyways.
exactly. That's what I always say too. I always say, like, the way a man handles rejection is a testament to his character. Even
You
if he doesn't have it all together, if he's gracious about it and he's like, hey, you know what? She was honest. And then it could serve as really big inspiration. He could be like, you know what? I went out on a date with a woman who is the type of woman I want to be with. And I need to do this with myself over the next 6 months so that the next time I'm on a date with a woman like that, I am going to be what she wants.
right. And that's men need to step up and say, I want to be that man that women want and desire. Who doesn't want to be one and desire? As a man, you want women to want to be around you, all right, and have confidence in you. But you also have to display that confidence. You also have to display that, hey, I can get it done. I'm getting it done. I have a plan. This is where I'm going. I'm looking for a partner to come with me and enjoy the ride. So if men start doing the bad rejection thing, that woman did herself a favor anyway. She got rid of an asset
Really.
for the future, because that's not the guy she's gonna.
Now, let's also talk about the women, and you see a lot of this online. I think some of it's propagated, but these videos that they're like gotcha videos where they kind of make it seem like a man goes over to approach a woman or a girl in a group of girls, and they come at him like so hard. They're insulting him, like call him a creep, all this stuff.
Oh no, that stuff isn't all that stuff stage stuff.
It seems so staged to me. I mean, since the last, I mean, I'm from New York, so I can like spot bullshit a mile away.
Right.
But in the last, I'd say 5 years, maybe 7 years, and I think a lot of it had to do with my own timing that I was doing my inner work. So I'd say a decade.
Mhm.
Because I've gotten so connected into my faith, I've also raised my level of discernment on things, and I can look at a piece of content and feel it viscerally if it's bullshit or not.
Mhm.
I can literally feel it in my bones, in my soul. So when I see a lot of these videos, I'm like, listen, never once in my life ever have I been out with my friends, have I seen this even in public, where I'm out at some restaurant, at some bar area, and I see a group of girls and men come over and these women make them feel like crap. I've never witnessed this ever. I'm not saying that a man has not necessarily experienced that, because I'm sure it has happened. But I don't believe it's happening on the level that is true and real. And I think it's a propagation of a propaganda thing to
Mhm.
keep men scared of approaching women.
Right. Yeah.
Because men who believe in themselves, believe they have something to offer, they see a beautiful woman walking by, they're going to go out of their way to meet her.
Hmm. Yeah. If he's confident enough, and the situation's right, yeah, he'll go out and do it. Absolutely.
So would you say that like this whole propaganda about men not approaching women is like, I mean, a lot of women are like, men don't approach anymore, men don't approach anymore. And then you ask the men why, and they're like, oh, because of the Me Too movement. We're afraid. We're going
No,
to be charged with sexual harassment just by saying hello.
I don't think it's that. I think it's a combination of things, to be honest, Lisa. Um, I think sometimes men don't approach women because also just body language, plain and simple. You know,
Tell
when
me more
women,
about that. Tell me more about that.
it's all about body language, and men sometimes, some men are very poor in picking up body language. So that's their fault. The woman's fault is a lot of times women project that, oh, they stand there like, oh, don't,
Bothered. They're
I'm,
bothered.
I'm with my girlfriends, leave me alone. You know, get that part too.
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah.
girls' night, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
you are a woman and you are single and you're looking to meet men, have better, you know, vibes with yourself, the way you stand, the way you look around the room. If there's a guy in the room that you find attractive, make the eye contact. There's nothing wrong with that. See, make the eye contact. If he doesn't come over, it might be two reasons. One, maybe he's a married guy. You never know.
Right.
Or
Or gay.
yeah, okay, yeah,
The
that's one.
thing.
Uh,
That sounds like flirting 101, right? Basic flirting. You see a
but people,
guy, you're like, ooh, he's cute.
yeah.
But do you feel that flirting kind of went out the window with social media? Like nobody flirts anymore, it
Well,
seems.
but that's also social media. People have lost the art of conversation.
Yes.
So the art of conversation is directly correlated with flirting. Because all right, you may get the body language, the looks, but now you have to come over and speak, and you have to speak well. You can't say something really stupid, or you're clever and say something that you've seen in the movie. You
I
have
always just say to keep it super simple and just
you have to
go
be
over and just say, hey, my name is Lisa, and I just wanted to come over and say hi. And
yeah,
that's it.
yeah. Be very genuine in what you're doing because when you come up with the BS, women, most women don't want the BS.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they don't want the BS. Some of them might laugh at it. They had a few drinks in them, they might laugh. You know, depending on how you delivered it, you might be a funny guy. I don't know,
So
but
what would you say is like a good way to approach women? Like if you would advise these men that are like in their loop of women are gonna call me a creeper, women are going to like get the police, like all this ridiculous thing. What would you say to these dudes?
okay. So, few things, just like what I mentioned, is body language. So, if you're a man and you see two, three girls together, four girls together, whatever, and they're huddled and they're strictly in their conversation, backs turned towards everyone, that's a good sign of saying they don't want to be bothered. They might be all married women. This is their girls' night out that they have once a month.
Right.
Leave them alone. Yeah. Right.
Right.
If they're turned turned around, all 3 or 4 girls, and really like facing everyone else, looking in that direction, looking around, that might be a signal. Hey, I think these ladies might be looking
Open.
open to a conversation.
Anytime, like nonverbal, right?
Right.
So
So,
geeking out right now,
right.
communications major, Rutgers University. Anytime your body is pointed to the um, zone of interest is
Mhm.
what it is. You open yourself up to receive that which you're interested in. So if you're standing with your back to a crowd, you're not interested in engaging with that crowd. But if you stand against a bar or whatever, or at a restaurant and you're open and your legs are crossed and you're sitting on a stool, but you're facing the people,
Mhm.
it is a nonverbal energy of I'm ready to receive. Your heart chakra is open to
Mhm.
receiving. Isn't that cool?
Yep, that's exactly what you want to kind of like read for a man towards a woman. All right, for a man to approach, but women need to do that though too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What's your take on resting bitch face?
Resting. I mean, listen, people's faces are their faces. What are you going to do about that?
I love it. Is there something, because it's interesting, that entire, phenomenon of resting bitch face. I was told that I have a pretty, like when I was in New York, especially, that I had like a very hard resting bitch face.
Really? I've
But
never. I mean, for
yeah, like when I was in like work mode, waiting for the train, I was,
I've never. I mean, when I met you and your girlfriends way back in the day, back in Hoboken,
yeah,
like you had that at all. I mean, I thought you
no, that's because I was in go out mode.
were that.
When I was go out mode, I was smiling and happy and dancing around. I was like bopping around like that little jumping bean happy.
Yeah,
Usually a little cocktail in my hand, being all friendly and nice. Yeah,
I
yeah.
went. I went out with a girl. She had the, I guess, what you would consider um, the resting bitch face. Like she's always had very monotone, like
Yeah,
look all the time. But when she smiled, it was beautiful.
yeah. You like light up. So
Wow.
I guess like a
Yeah.
woman could practice in the mirror. It's all about like just consciousness
Hmm.
and thinking what you're thinking too. Like your thoughts can shift your energy.
Yeah.
So if you're out and about with your friends
Yeah.
and these girls are talking and you're just kind of hanging out looking around, think
Yeah.
of like puppies. Think of like delicious food. Just be in a neutrality of joy, right? Be in this
I
headspace of positive, like thinking,
you
because that's
that,
going to show on your face and it's going to show in your energy.
I mean, you think that would be the way, but honestly, even men have that too. Like men, I might be one of those guys because
Oh.
when I'm out, like I do have a serious look on my face.
But women like that though. A lot of women like that, especially feminine women.
Okay.
Like feminine women will see a man who kind of has like a military cop kind of vibe, right? Like that stoic, like somebody here could pull out a gun and I'm going to save all the women, like that kind of vigilance, right? And they'll look at that as, ooh, he's brooding.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, I could cook for him and make him melt. So they like that masculinity. And I don't
Yeah.
know, like at least for me, I would find that kind of thing challenging. I would like see a guy like that and be like,
I listen. I guess this
are
is just
you CIA?
it's just perception, right? Someone's look, the way they stand, stuff like that. You might have an image of them. Yeah, women have a certain image towards men, and men have an image towards women.
Yeah.
The way they stand, vibe, look, everything, dress.
Well, sometimes women will be like, that guy seems like an asshole,
Yeah.
you know, because he's just very like, I go, no, he seems like, I bet you if I had to guess branch of military, I'm going Marines. And I'm like, do you want to see if it's true? And then I walk up to him and I'd be like, hey, are you a Marine? And he'd be like, I am a Marine. How did you tell? I'm like, you had like that don't fuck with me vibe, but
Yeah.
kind of wants people to talk to them vibe. So he
Yeah.
wanted to come say hi to you and thank you for your service. That's how you flirt. That's what you do. You're
Yeah.
just friendly. Just be
Well,
friendly
again,
and curious about people.
again, that goes back to being able to conversate. A lot
Right.
of the generation right now does not know how to conversate. I find myself sometimes talking to people, not even for, like I said, not in a social setting, but even just in a business setting, they just don't even know how to conversate. It's kind of funny, you're like talking to them. It's like, you're trying to loosen things up, and they're just so stoic, and they don't know how
They're
to.
like robotic. It's like robot energy, zombie vibe,
Yeah, and
right? Nobody knows how to kick it anymore.
I'm the kind of person where I can be, an extrovert or an introvert, and
Same.
the same on the situation and the people I'm
Right.
around. It's like that. Listen, I could have been that guy that walked by that you might say that guy's an asshole. See that guy right there? Yeah, he's one.
I'd be like, dude, that guy will kick somebody's ass. I
I
want
mean,
to know him. I must be friends with that guy. I'm only 5'3". I need a posse of guys around me to defend me and protect me. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, I feel like a lot of people really are in this solitude, in this isolation, and they're not finding fulfillment in this hooking up thing anymore.
mhm.
So they don't want to do that. They don't just want to like do the hookup culture thing. But then they find it very difficult to meet people, quality people. So I know what I say to these people, but I'd love a fresh perspective on why you think that is, right? Like after COVID, people stayed very isolated.
Mhm.
There are a
Yeah,
lot of people that don't even have friends as adults to go out and do fun stuff with. So having a friend network is a good social in real life network is important. It's one of the things I always ask my clients when they come to me and they say, I'm having a really hard time meeting women. I'm having a really hard time meeting men. I ask them, well, where are you on a Saturday night at 7 o'clock? 9 times out of 10 at home, probably, with my dog, reading a book or
so
watching TV, binging something on Netflix. Like, dude, do you think your person is in your cupboard? You got to go out in public.
I find that interesting that they say, "Well, I'm home," and this and that, and there's one or two reasons why they may not be going out. One, maybe they don't have enough friends, and that's fine. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you don't need a lot of friends. It's okay to actually just step out on your own. Go sit
Totally.
at a bar, at a restaurant, have a meal by yourself on the Saturday night. If you don't really have friends to go out with, that's fine. Especially people who move into someone who moved in from another city into New York, for example. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have friends here, right? So you got to
Oh my
start.
God. If you did that in New York, a city like New York or any major metro area city, and you
Mhm,
just were like, hey, because that's what happened to me when I moved to South Beach. I didn't really know anybody. I had two friends. They were part time New York and part time South Beach.
mhm.
So there was a time where I was like, okay, I don't know anybody. So I went out alone. I went to explore Lincoln Road and I went with my dog and I went walking around, had lunch outside, people watching,
You
and
meet.
then met these guys who rolled up on me and started chatting me up. And then from there, one of them invited me on a boat party. And then at the boat party, I met these girls. We exchanged numbers. Like you were off to the races. But I had to leave my apartment. I couldn't just sit in there and not do anything.
You're not gonna meet anyone there. And if you're not
You're
gonna
not
meet,
going to meet anybody in your house like watching Netflix and
yeah,
playing video games.
and you're not gonna meet them on
So,
dating apps either, because the dating apps, you know,
so like the dating apps, I've dug deep into the whole like conspiracy about them. And one, they're designed to evoke feelings of hopelessness, despair, while also vacillating between low frequencies and then hopeful and fantasy and um, almost just a distinct separation from reality. So it's like you see somebody and then you have all these fantasies and you're filling in the blanks in your head. And then you meet them and it sucks. And then you're back down to the low energy again, back on the app again. And then it's training people for like the dopamine hit of
right.
the approval and the validation. It's a mishmash of like psychopathic programming,
Hmm.
right? So when you kind of dig into that a little and you see what it is they're doing, not to mention data mining and using a lot of AI to gather data and then use that again, not against you, but like to get you to buy shit you don't really need.
Right.
and propagate other things politically and whatever. It's amazing. Like the matrix of mind is fantastic, and it's like super deep to get into, but when you do, it's a little scary. So you got to take a break. Like sometimes, I don't know if this is for you too, but like over the last, since 2020, when so many people in the world awakened to all of the shit that was going on and the easy accessibility to information, you have to like monitor that in yourself, because you could go down rabbit holes and you're like, oh my God, like you get really nihilistic, you get hopeless. You're like, oh my God, I can't date on an app because they're trying to mine my data and there's this and that, and it's just so much. You have to kind of pace yourself for the truth that can be revealed because it's a lot.
Mhm.
But that said, always best to have a great social group, right? Cool people you can hang with. Go out to do things that you enjoy. And if you don't have friends and you're in a new city, or you're just not, you're rebuilding your friend group because COVID wiped everybody out, whatever. I don't mean like killed, but I mean, well, that could happen. That could happen too. But I mean like differences of opinions, a lot
That's,
of friendships were lost, a lot of that. So if you want to rebuild that, go do stuff that you like to do. And in doing so, you will meet others who are liking the same thing you like, and then you make friends that way, I think.
you can make friends pretty much anywhere. I think the best places to meet friends are places of your interest. So whether it's the gym, right? All right, you're already meeting people who are you know, in the same mindset as you of taking care of their body and stuff like that, right? So you go to the gym, that's one place. All right. Um, you know, other things, museums, go check out some art, or shows, stuff like that, that you can go to. I mean, you meet people in all these different places, these public gatherings, music festivals,
Hmm.
fairs. I mean, people.
So one of my clients, I encouraged her, she was very introverted, and I encouraged her to curate a situation where she can bring the people in. So she started a meetup group for women. I think she was like 45. So she did like the 40 and over club, and
Mhm.
she hosted it. And it was a networker for people 40 plus. And so at the first time she did it, she put her little meetup out there. She picked the place. She got 5 people to show up. Out of those 5 people, she exchanged numbers with all of them. They learned about what she was trying to create. They loved it. They supported her. They became friends. By the 6th week, she had over 50 people, and she was charging $20 each to go have some meetup, like with food, hand passed little apps. She was like working with restaurants to like bring this tribe of people over to like buy drinks and whatever. So she created such an animal for her. She like monetized it. And not only did she meet like 4 really good girlfriends and they travel and whatever, she met her now fiance, who was one of the liquor distributors for the event that she put together at this restaurant. So she went there in the afternoon to talk to the manager, and the liquor distributor guy was there at the same time, and their appointments conflicted, but it was like they were meant to meet, and now they're engaged. The point
You
of this is you
like I
have to create your best life, create the situations that can lead to exciting, amazing things.
said, sitting around at home is not going to make you do that. And it's
No.
a great story. I love that story because, like I said, it shows 2 things that a person who is a introvert decided enough is enough. I need to really meet someone, and she reached out to other people who might be in the same boat as her. She ends up meeting friends, and she ends up making a business, and then also meeting, her romantic interests. That is a beautiful story. That's what people need to hear.
Yeah, she's still in it, and now they're doing it together, and they're adding a charity component and raising money for causes. Like, it's amazing what she did. She's like, this was the best idea ever.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, I share this always to give people hope, but also to show them that when you take initiative, the universe will meet you and give you the blessings. Like the right people will show up when you put yourself out there to receive them. Right?
Right.
If you're, sitting on your couch, eating crappy processed snacks and watching Netflix binging, then you're going to get more of the same.
Yeah.
Right? you know. But if you're like, okay, I'm going to make a list of 5 things that I really am interested in, and I'm going to find where they are in my little community, in my city, or whatever, and go to these things and know that I'm going with an open heart. I want to receive great people. Another thing too is personal development seminars, like yoga expos and nutrition expos. Anything that's personal development, you're going to meet really good quality people there.
Yeah, always. It's funny that you say that. I just had this conversation with someone a little earlier today at the gym. I told him, like, we were talking about, like, fitness and, like, nutrition and all that stuff, and then, like, all these herbal vitamins to take. And I was telling him about a fair that I went to, a wellness fair that I went to, and I ended up meeting a ton of people at this place. Think about that. That's like people who are the same interest, have the same interests that you have, and you meet these people not only just for you're there for your health, for one thing, but now you're there socializing. You have a common interest. I mean, those are definitely some of the places you want to go to. It's funny that you say that, because I literally had this conversation with
Yeah.
someone.
I mean, I was coaching this guy, and he's in his 40s, never married. And why? Because he like busted his ass in his 20s and 30s to like crank up on his business, created businesses, investments, whatever. But now he's like 44, and he's like, I kind of want to be a dad, right? Like I did I like built this little empire, but it's like, for one, I kind of want to like have a tribe. And he wanted to, meet a more traditional woman, younger, who could have his babies. So I was like, okay, well, what kind of woman do you want? And he's like, I want a woman who appreciates money, who doesn't just spend it, but kind of has a genuine interest in it. So
Those are
I said, well, I'll tell you what, there are a lot of women who have their own little girls financial groups, and they typically go these days to seminars about crypto. Like they want to learn about that. So he goes, all right, done. Like I know a bit about crypto. Cool. So I'll go check out some seminars and see what's what. He ends up getting himself on like a panel about, money management, whatever, at this event for all women. I was like, bro, you're like the expert on a panel. Like these women are going to be wanting to ask you questions and all of this. So he goes, yeah, that was like fishing in a barrel. Like that was a great, and these women were successful, but some of them were like younger. So they were into that openness of learning about crypto. Like the older women are too like risk averse. They're like not about that. But the younger ones, which is what he wanted, he's 44. His ideal would be like, he was like, I want to meet somebody like 30, ready for a man who can just like, here's the house, here's the kids, here's the whole thing. And I'm like, okay, we'll see. Let's see what we can do. I mean, I'm not a matchmaker, but so far, he's a catch. He has a lot to offer. He's clear in what he wants. He definitely had like a little fitness goal that he wanted to achieve. I think that as he moves towards that, that will open him up to receiving that woman. And all good, but you have to get like a little creative, and it's very much a marketing conversation too, right?
yeah,
So like prior to being a life coach, I don't know if you know this, but I did PR and marketing in New York for
I remember,
various. Yeah, you
yeah,
remember when I was up there, I was doing that life. So I use a lot
I
of
know
that.
time.
Right. I use a lot of that strategy in my coaching because I see how much marketing is a part of dating. Like you're a product in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So instead of like salad dressing, you're a person. So your clothing is your packaging, right? How you look is your packaging, and it matters. How you speak is your sales pitch. Like there's all nuances there that match. And the more people master that, the better they do in dating.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then the more likely they are to attract that person, and then they're not dating anymore. They're like, the purpose of dating isn't to date indefinitely, it's to date to find your person. Yes?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. So we're coming up on an hour of chatting. This is
Yeah.
great, long format. I did hit record. We got a lot of good nuggets there. And I'll post it again, and we can continue this conversation on a different time. I love what we were talking about. I think will help a lot of people.
Yeah.
And thank you for taking the time to chat.
Yeah, no problem, Lisa. Anytime. It's always a pleasure to meet, talk to people in regards to these type of things. I know a lot of people have a hard time out there with a lot of different subjects, and we covered a few. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but anytime I can help, believe me, you can always call me, and I will definitely have a conversation with you.
Thank you for that. So, if there's like one last thing that you want to impart on the people before we sign off, the floor is yours.
Well, I don't really have anything to say in regards to that. The only thing I can say is that, you know, in regards to everything we were talking about, the best thing for a person to do is to start really living their life. All right. Kind of this is what I do. Live your life, travel, meet new people, experience great new food. All right. Show empathy towards people. Do something for someone else instead of just for yourself all the time. And try to be the best that you can be with people in general, because what you project, you will get back. And I'm a true believer of that. And most of all, have your faith. All right. Have your faith.
There you go. Well, that was great. Thanks again, and we will talk again soon.
All right, Lisa. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
That was so good. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just click record just to see. And it worked out.
Good.
So
I hope you can use it all. I mean, I don't know if you're planning to like edit some parts and go from one thing to another.
I'm gonna try and see like what this is. I mean, this thing says still recording. This one said end recording, record only, edit. It does let you edit. So I'm gonna play around with this a little bit, see what it is. But this was great,
Yeah.
and I think we covered a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff. I mean, I think there's even more we can cover. Down the road. You want to speak about other things. So, I mean, I think next time we speak, we definitely have more fluidity. I mean, I think we're fluid.
Yeah, we'll have more structure.
We're more structured. Like, we go from
Like
one.
a specific topic, because now we can break it down into like a specific topic,
Yeah.
like men, women, and money.
Yeah.
How to handle the whole paying on a date thing. What's up with this 50-50 shit? And like,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I love it. So yeah,
Yeah.
there could be other topics. I think it'll be really good.
Yeah. Well, like I say, you can always call me and talk about
Thank
it.
you.
I've experienced a lot in my life. So
I love it. All right, cool. Well, this is great. I'm glad you're doing well.
yeah, same. I'm glad you're doing.
Healthy and happy.
Where are you now? You're in Tampa?
I'm an hour south of Tampa in Sarasota.
Oh, you're Sarasota. Okay, nice. All right.
Yeah. So, but we're like 8 miles inland from the beach. So
Yeah.
thankfully we didn't have damage or anything from the storm. But like
Yeah.
our main center of town, which is this place called St. Armand Circle, and it's all shopping and restaurants.
Yeah.
Kind of like if Lincoln Road was a circle, like that's kind of how it is. But it got obliterated. It's just like water damage. Stores can't open. It's gonna take a bit for that
Yeah.
to come back. And there's supposed to be like 2 other storms coming too.
I know my friend Steve lives in Tampa. He was sending me like pictures from up there, from down here. But like, yeah, I mean, I know people, depending where they live at, they some of the street